Even though people sitting there meeting. Just doesn't work out. That's what good. Oh yeah, they eat something. I've seen that. They even said, "What do y'all got this time?" Go through the bells and all that. Just I didn't know. I like it. Still got to come back to the city. How you doing?
I don't understand why they always have to get so nasty about it.
Oh, no.
It doesn't matter what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, the county.
Conversation. Talk it out.
I wonder what he means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him down there. Saw him. She there too. Council meeting starting in bed. What's going on? Let's do it. Where you at?
All right.
Okay. Okay.
July 2023 meeting of Shelbyville City Council is about to commence. Please silence all cell phones and noise-making devices. We ask that you remain standing for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. At the conclusion of tonight's meeting, this building will return to a secure police headquarters. We ask that if you have any business to conduct following this meeting to do so within 5 minutes and depart the building forthwith.
That's Pastor Jim Moran with the First Presbyterian Church to come offer our prayer tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the invitation to the City Council. Let us all join in prayer together. Sovereign God, who watches over us like a loving Father and rules over all your creation, hear our prayer this night for our city of Shelbyville, Tennessee. Guide our City Council to seek the best for our community and her citizens. Grant them your very wisdom, the wisdom of Solomon in their decisions, and your kind, generous spirit with one another in their deliberations. Go with us, Lord God, into our future together as we all work for the common good of our city. In the name of our Lord Jesus, we offer our prayer. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. Thank everyone for coming. Lisa, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Christie.
Here.
Councilmember Ewing.
Present.
Councilmember Feldhouse.
Here.
Councilmember Hale.
Here.
Councilmember Isaac.
Here.
And Councilmember Turnbull.
Here.
Do have a quorum, Mr. Mayor, all present, all members present.
Thank you, Lisa. We want to adopt the agenda, but we have an amendment to the agenda. We want to remove business item number E. If you want to look at your agenda that you have there, business item number E is what we want to. I need a motion to remove that, please.
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then I will need a motion to adopt the agenda. Would I have a motion for that?
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Any opposed? All right, public comments. Lisa, would you like to touch on that, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Later on in our agenda, there will be a resolution to adopt new guidelines for public comment. This is a new statutory requirement, so it will be on all of our agendas. This section of public comments only applies to items that are on the agenda. So if anybody in the audience would like to make any comments about any item on the agenda for tonight, please come forward. I don't see any, so we can move on, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, the consent agenda, all these items in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and may be approved by one motion. However, a council member may request that an item be removed for separate consideration. A, approval of the city council minutes of the following. Study session of May 30th, 2023. Regular meeting of June the 8th, 2022. Special called workshop of May 18th, 2023. Special called budget workshops of May 31st, 2023 and June 6th, 2023. Special call meeting of June 29, 2023. We've had plenty of meetings. B, accept all monthly reports for the month of June. Any discussion, any questions? C, accept treasurer's reports for the month of May. D, approval of accounts payable for the month of June. E, authorization to purchase MSA self-contained breathing apparatus SCBA for the fire department for Safe Industries in Easley, South Carolina through HGAC National Cooperative Contract EE08-19. The total purchase price is $52,875. The fiscal year 24 budgeted amount is $55,125. Does anyone wish to remove any item? Okay, do I have a motion to approve these as I've read?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please, Lisa.
Councilmember Feldhouse,
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Isaac,
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow.
Yes. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Council. Public hearings, we have none. At this time, I would ask for a consideration of a motion to allow our city attorney to read captions only on ordinances and resolutions. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, old business, Counselor.
Your first item is an ordinance for the Shelbyville City Council to approve the amended Fieldstone Code Regulating Pattern Book as recommended by the Shelbyville Municipal Planning Commission and to repeal any ordinance or part of an ordinance in conflict herewith.
Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion at all?
Just to say, this is a first reading, so it'll be back on your agenda next month for a public hearing and a second reading at that time.
Okay. All right, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Turnbow,
Yes.
Councilmember Isaac,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing.
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move to resolutions. Ginger.
Your first resolution is a resolution of the City of Shelbyville, Tennessee, authorizing the application for a multimodal transportation access program grant, Phase 2, between the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation and the City of Shelbyville for the construction of a multi-use path or sidewalks in the City of Shelbyville.
Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? That's on Madison Street, isn't it? City manager?
Yes, sir.
Okay. New sidewalks down that way. No discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Isaac,
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow,
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Your second is second resolution is a resolution to amend the guidelines for citizens' comments at a study session and to allow for public comments at all city meetings for the city of Shelbyville.
Do I have a motion to approve that?
Motion.
Second.
Second, okay. Any discussion on that?
I've got one clarification maybe.
All right.
On item 6 of the policy, ask for Ginger's help on this.
Okay.
It's a little vague maybe as to whether it's the agenda of a regular meeting or a study session. There needs to be a comma in there or either make a new line where it says comments may address any item on the agenda, or if at a study session, comma, comments may address any issue pertaining to the city. That, I think any issue to the city is really is reserved for study sessions.
That's correct.
Correct.
That's correct.
I'm not sure that it's really, does it sound a little vague there, Miss English major?
It's not an English language.
Well, lawyers
Far from it.
are supposed to know
How
how
about
to do
county?
that sort of thing.
Comments may address any item on the agenda, or if at a study session, comments may address any issue. I thought it was clear,
Is
but
it clear now?
it was clear enough to me, but if you would like, we can put it, make certainly you know it's a council meeting, a council meeting agenda.
I can
You
make
can
it
add that in
into-
there to
into two
clarify that.
sentences to clarify if you would feel better about it.
Yeah, because only a council has a study session. I mean, this is
Other-
for this is actually for everybody. I mean, it's for everybody. It's the beer board, it's planning commission, it's everybody.
I know we have an agenda to follow somewhat of it in the study session too, so I wanted to clarify that basically like this meeting, a formal meeting, the agenda is what we speak to.
That's
If
correct.
somebody wants to come in talking about a roller skating park out here or something that's not on the agenda, we don't need to.
No, we've left that open that folks can bring other issues to you at study session.
To me, it just would be cleaner if it had its own separate line item.
Okay, we can do that.
I can make that change
Not a problem.
Do I need to make that as an amendment?
as an
to the motion?
amendment, yes.
Please.
Can I amend the motion I didn't make the motion, make an amendment to clarify the comment section reserved for normal, regular meeting agendas, and that at study sessions only, we will have comments to address any issue pertaining to the city.
We need a second.
Yes, second.
Vote on it.
Okay. Everybody clear on that?
We need to vote on the amendment.
All right, now let's vote on that amendment by Councilmember Feldhouse. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please, Lisa.
You agree with Councilmember Feldhouse's amendment, you'll vote yes when I call your name. Councilmember Turnbow,
Yes.
Councilmember Isaacs,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
and Councilmember Feldhouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now I need a motion to accept as amended, and Lisa and Ginger will make the changes. Do I have a motion to accept that as amended?
I make that motion.
Second, and go ahead, Lisa.
I actually have a motion on the floor already to approve it.
Yes.
Okay.
Can Mr. Turnbow just approve it as amended?
Okay.
He doesn't have to change it. The motion's been amended
Go
by the
go
vote.
ahead. Okay. So we're ready for a roll call.
Roll call vote, please. Thank you.
Councilmember Feldhouse,
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Christie.
Yes.
Councilmember Isaacs.
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow.
Yes.
That is approved as amended with that change.
Thank you. See, Ginger.
Item C is a resolution to adopt the City of Shelbyville pavement assessment of June 2023. And you have a very large attachment that goes with that.
Do I have a motion to adopt that?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion on that? Is Buck with us tonight? Have any questions for Buck or anything?
What's,
They've assessed what our needs are on pavement and things like that in the city of Shelbyville. Very, very good assessment, looked like to me.
Is that to determine what's needed, what's next, what's coming up as far as paving?
Scott?
Yes, ma'am. It prioritizes the roads and gave them a grade across the city.
I think that was based on traffic patterns and things like that. Most travel would be covered first. Is that correct? Any other discussion? Good question, Councilmember Ewing. Okay, let's have the roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie.
Yes.
Councilmember Isaac. Yes. Councilmember Turnbow.
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse.
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing.
Yes.
Ginger D, please.
Okay. D is a resolution of the City Council of Shelbyville, Tennessee, approving a contract for the sale and redevelopment of real property located at 100 and 104 South Spring Street for the Riverview project.
Do I have a motion on that resolution? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that at all?
Mayor,
Yes.
do you want to recognize me for this?
Well,
This is
please.
the contract.
Okay.
As I've explained to you all before, we made probably want to make two changes, or maybe just one change, to the contract that you all reviewed at your study session. Your Public Works Director has requested that we add in, probably under item 5, just a requirement that they do not alter the drainage that lies between the two buildings. I think is that correct, Scott? Exactly what he wants?
Yes, ma'am. Do not alter or obstruct.
Oh, alter obstruct. So I will add that too, if you all approve that amendment tonight. The second thing, and I think that was pretty easy, the second one, if you look at item 5, C, this is a request. This is on page 36. This is a request of Bedco. It's under, this is historic restoration and commercial redevelopment of property. Actually, I'm sorry, it's item B, not item C. They asked, we had talked about having an 18-month completion from the effective date of this agreement. They have asked for, and you'll see it in front of you, that they be allowed to extend that in the case of the issuance of the permit, the last of 18 months after the effective date, or the issuance of the permit necessary for construction, and also contingent upon a reasonable and normal supply chain for construction materials. So that was a last minute request by them. So I bring that to you here tonight for you all to tell me. I've drafted this in for you all to discuss, and we can take it out. We can change it around, whatever you want to do. But this does extend it. I know that 18 months was, I think, a selling point for you all. 18 months from the effective date of this contract. This makes it 18 months from the issuance of last permit necessary. The one other thing I would point out is item D does say that the Grindstone Cowboy has to be open and fully operational on a full-time basis within 24 months of the effective date of the contract. They've not given me any feedback, or Scott, did I give you any feedback on that?
No.
So they still are obligated to do that, but this gives them a little bit more open-endedness on this request on B. So you tell me what, if it's okay with you, that's fine. If you want me to, you don't want to approve it?
Basically, they have to be
Remember
open.
the discussion on that. It could stop, that B section on 5 could stop at the effective date of this contract, period.
That is originally what we presented and talked to you all. It seems like it's forever ago because our study session was earlier than we're used to having.
Right.
But that's what we discussed at study session. This just really came in last minute on that issue right there. So
So if they have to be fully operational in 24 months, even though they said they're completing the renovation in 18 months, this whole section really says between 18 and 24 months. So 6
when you
months.
read it together. Mhm.
I mean, we didn't talk about that earlier, but I can kind of live with that, I think.
Yeah, I can too.
More discussion on that?
Is this for both buildings? I don't know if there's
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Of course, Grindstone will only be in one building. We only talked about being operational. The construction, let me back up, Henry, that's a good point. The construction part and the completion is for both buildings. The Grindstone Cowboy, of course, will only be in the Riverview / Kyle building. So Grindstone Cowboy has to be fully operational, but we didn't talk about anything else from a date of being operational. So you could technically have them working on the other buildings while having to have the front building, Riverview, on the corner up and running. So I'm glad you brought up that point.
Okay, I had, Councilmember Feldhouse had made a couple of comments, and, then Councilmember Turnbull had, mentioned, do you want to leave it like it has changed, Councilmember Turnbull, or do you want to leave it like it was originally?
Leave it like it's written in the contract in front of us.
Okay, like the contract in front of us, okay. Same thing that Councilmember Feldhouse, I think, had stated. Any other discussion on that? Okay, can we get a motion on that now with, the changes in the contract that we have? Do we need to amend that and then vote on an amended?
Just in whoever's motion, just say that it is contingent upon those changes. One, the drainage issue, and two, that we are accepting their request for item 5B.
This is my motion, so I'll make sure we have the drainage language in there to keep that available for public use, I guess.
They do not alter or obstruct, yes.
And adding the additional language of the permits. They're still within that 18 to 24 months, so that's fine.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
It was Mr. Hale's motion. He
All right.
agrees to Mr.
Any more discussion on that? Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Hale, you did agree to them.
I did.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Isaacs. Yes. Councilmember Turnbow,
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse,
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Thank you.
Business items. A, consideration of a motion to forward the annexation request by the city of Shelbyville for 30.35 acres located on Highway 231 North, tax map 59, parcels 14.0 and 14.01, formerly known as the Carrot property, to the Planning Commission for further review. Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Have a roll call vote, please, Lisa.
Councilmember Feldhouse,
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Christie.
Yes.
Councilmember Isaacs.
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow.
Yes.
Okay, B, consideration of a motion to authorize city recorder to prepare a public notice in accordance with the state statute for a $10,000 nonprofit funding request to the Habitat for Humanity. Do we have a motion on that?
Yes, I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion, but I have a request, I guess, also. Go ahead. We'll get in discussion.
Okay, we'll open it up for discussion. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that?
The one question I have is when we received their financial statements, there was a fairly large number in there for salaries. I'd like to see that, what that's broken down to. Is that salaries that they're paying for workers actually constructing houses? Or is that overhead administration type expenses? So that's what I would like to see is.
I did some research on this afternoon and talked to some folks that had started the Habitat for Humanity. And we discussed the operation that they have right now. And based on their information, they thought that that was covering, I think they're selling used furniture and things in there too now, and used windows and doors and things like that. So that, based on that conversation I had this afternoon, the gentleman thought that that would probably, that salary was covering some of the maybe part-time help or things that they had to try to sell those things or load and unload and all those kind of different things like that.
It's closed.
It is closing,
It's
yes.
closed.
Is that correct? Does anybody have is it different than what that gentleman told me?
It's closed.
I had
It's
had
closed.
somebody too that had also given them money in the past, that had said something about there was a pretty high salary for an overall administrator or something too.
Yeah.
And they thought it was a volunteer organization, and they were shocked that they had any salary. So I guess I'd like to see what the breakdown is on that salary, much as anything, before we throw taxpayer money in.
Yeah, so are you making a motion, we defer this until we see that financial statement and break it down, Councilmember Feldhouse?
I was seconding Ms. Ewing's motion to get discussion, so I'll defer to
Yeah,
her.
we've already got a motion and a second in front of us, so
Wait
we've
30
got to
days.
vote on it.
I'll defer to you since it's your motion.
Well, I certainly don't think it'll take 30 days to get the information that you've requested. So, I say move forward, but then the information would come to us prior to study session, which we can be looking at next. Is that correct?
Okay, so are we asking for deferment of the vote of this session until the study session and we look over all of these things? Is that what a motion I'm looking at?
This motion.
If I could,
Okay, Lisa,
Mayor,
please.
yes. The actual motion stated on this agenda is only to authorize me to prepare the public notice
Right.
Right.
that we're going to consider a nonprofit. Because of state
Yeah.
statute, if council is considering paying a nonprofit money, then we have things that we require from them, and we have to publish it in the newspaper, have a public hearing to allow citizens to come and have comment on that, appropriation to that nonprofit. So that's what this is for. If, you are asking for additional information, I'll do the advertisement, but you're not voting to approve it until next month anyway.
Yes.
So with the first, for this motion and the second, all we're doing is a consideration to, prepare that public notice and do study on it. Any other discussion? Good discussion. All right, can we have a roll call vote on that, please?
Okay, so the motion and the second is only to authorize me to prepare the public notice, and then it'll come back to you on your study session next month.
That's correct.
So if you're in agreement with that, when I call your name, you'll say yes.
And Lisa, let me add, that'll be in the form of a resolution. We have to do it in the form of a resolution.
Yes.
But I think you're just asking for more detailed information. You have to get their audit and all the other information anyway. So we could ask for that information.
Contact them and
That he's
ask them
talking
that prior to the study session.
So the audit is already amongst this body, but Councilmember Feldhouse is wanting a breakdown of the salaries. Is that correct?
That's my request.
Yeah. And all of that would be done, I'm thinking, public notice and the request and the next vote we have. Am I correct?
Well, Lisa can do what she needs to do to meet the state law. It's public for you all to even vote next month on it. It would have had to have already been advertised. You have to have your public hearing. So this is telling her that you're going to seriously consider it. Want that resolution to come back in front of you next month. What she can also do is just say, hey, one of our council members has asked for this information. Will you please supply it? Unless Mr. Feldhouse wants to make that as a motion and have council vote on it now about requiring that information.
Want to make that as part of our motion? Oops, sorry. Did we get the breakdown of the salaries?
We're gonna get the breakdown of the salaries. What I'm saying is allow Madam Reporter to do what she has to do per se.
But as
Guidelines.
our city attorney is saying, though, if we put it as part of our motion, requesting that it get those details, then it's not just a request from me, it's a request from the council.
I accept that.
And I'll accept that as a second to that motion. That
Yes.
we get that information.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, we ready for roll call or we have more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Turnbow,
Yes.
Councilmember Isaacs. Yes. Councilmember Christie.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing.
Yeah.
Councilmember Bellhouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, C, consideration of a motion to set a special call city council workshop to review and choose a design concept for the Overlook project. That's our river overlook project. Do we have a motion on that?
Summer.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have 3 different designs on that, and the folks are here with us tonight from Neil Schaefer. And any questions for them? I think we've had the public meeting the other night, and we have discussed it, and everybody's had a chance to look over it. Any discussion?
If I could, I'm sorry, Councilmember Ewing.
Go ahead, go ahead. I just had a,
I was going to just update the council. We did hold a public meeting on Monday night that invited the public to come in and make comments to view the 3 concepts. It was a pretty good attended meeting. We had a pretty good attendance, a lot of good questions, a lot of good comments came out of it. And what we're asking is that since there seems to be a pull to kind of combine some of the designs, so we thought maybe a standalone meeting to allow the council to look at them and see if there were elements from each design to kind of narrow down and give the design team more of a, defined idea of which way you want to go. They have requested if council is willing to confirm the location that they have it set for. All 3 designs were set at one particular location. If everybody kind of remembers, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you don't remember exactly what that location was, and you don't want to vote on that part of it, but they are trying to go forward with the NEPA, am I saying that right? With the NEPA investigation, and so they need to firm up the location of the overlook, where it will be. Now, it may shift a little one way or the other based on the design, but in the general area, and if everybody will kind of remember where that was at, it was closer to the dam than the highway, and it was kind of where you could look back and see the courthouse square. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, okay, so during the public meeting the other day, I discovered that the grant for 1.3 has a 20%, it's the 20% economic impact. Yeah. So, but the grant is definitely with the city already.
No, we don't have the grant money yet. We kind of, I think we have to pay for it and then we get reimbursed.
Are you saying our match money is?
Yeah.
Our match is, I think our match is like, what is it, Scott, like 400,000 or 500,000 right now or something? But we haven't been construction, so I mean, it'll probably change. But is that right?
Yes, the construction formula will be 80% federal, DDOT, 20% local.
In my understanding from talking to Whitney, they don't anticipate we get to the construction phase this year. We just budgeted for the initial, maybe it's NEPA, I'm not sure what it is, but we only budgeted 84,000 local money this year. Because we didn't think we'd get to construction. Now that may change, but.
So the grant's gonna pay 80 and the city will pay 20, is that correct on this?
Direction.
Okay. Thank goodness it's a grant. All right, do we have a motion on that? Consideration of motion to set that special call city council workshop. All right, William, thank you for raising your hand.
Already did. I'm
Councilmember
already
Christie. Do I have a second? Councilmember Gary Hale. All right,
Mayor.
any more discussion?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Is council agreeable to go ahead and allow the engineers and architects with the location of the overlook as presented, because there will need to be a little flexibility, but is the council willing to leave that to the expertise of the engineers and architects to get the best location to triangulate it with the river down as well as the courthouse down?
I like the location itself.
I would.
All right.
I guess I can add to my motion that, the council agrees to the location presented, general area of the location that was presented by the architects. Does that work?
Councilmember Hale, you agree with that amendment?
I do.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hale, do you agree to that as your second?
I do.
All right. Any other discussion? Can we have a roll call vote as that is amended? Is that correct?
Yes, the roll call vote will be for council to agree to set a special called workshop to review the proposals and to accept the general location of the designs. Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Isaacs. Yes. Councilmember Turnbow,
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse.
Yes.
Okay, and I will get back with y'all on Monday. I'll send out some proposed dates, and we'll try to get it set within the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, folks. That's gonna be a great addition to Shelbyville. Looking forward to it. Excited about it. D, consideration of a motion to approve the Shelbyville Municipal Airport Construction Ground Lease Agreement with Azure Flight Support. Everybody clear on that? We've done some studies on that, looked at some designs. We have a motion on that?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
There were just a few minor changes in that to the last, since it's been out of the airport authority. A couple of things on, of course, we dropped the price in, and a couple of things on insurance, but your airport director said he's comfortable with all those changes, and so the lease was recommended by the Shelbyville Airport Authority.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. All right, we've got a motion and a second. We ready for a roll call vote? Lisa?
Councilmember Isaacs? Yes. Councilmember Turnbow?
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse?
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing?
Yes.
Councilmember Hale?
Yes.
Councilmember Christie?
Yes.
Okay, the next item, purchasing and bids. Doesn't look like we have anything there. That's good. All right, appointments. A, the beer board. These are one-year appointments. The mayor appoints 5 members to the beer board for a one-year term, and the council ratifies. We would like to reappoint Brett Fisher, Mark Cajon, Roy Turner, Joey Lamatina, and appoint Calvin Cannon as we'd had one member that wanted to get off of that board, and Miss Lizzie Peoples, and we appreciate her serving all these years. And so we asked, Calvin Cannon asked the other day if he could, that he would serve on that. Okay? Do we need to vote on that right now, Lisa?
Yes, if the council give me a first and a second to ratify.
Okay. Need a motion to approve those 5 members?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All right. And do we just do a voice vote or a roll call?
You can just do an all in favor. Just all
Okay. All in favor, say.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. B is the airport board. The mayor appointment of one person to the airport board for a 5-year term, and the council ratifies. We're wanting to appoint Kelly Wilson to his first full term. I think he has previously completed someone else's term. I think the limit is 2 terms. Is that correct, Lisa?
Yes, sir, that is.
Okay, so Mr. Wilson has agreed to serve, and he's been a fine member of that airport authority, and our council member turned both on that also. Do I have a motion to accept that appointment?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, C is the library board. The mayor appointment of two persons to the library board for a 3-year term, and the council ratifies. We're going to defer that to the next meeting. We've got 2 openings. One opening because there's term limits on the library board, and Mr. Brent Kennedy has served well, and we appreciate him doing that. And then we have a lady, Ms. Pittner, I think,
Yes.
that has moved to the county, and she's going to serve as a county representative, so we're going to have that opening. And we just hadn't got anybody, and anybody in the audience or anybody in our listening audience that would like to serve on that library board, please get with a member of the city council, myself, city manager, Ms. Lisa Smith, and let us know that you would be willing to serve on that. So we'll defer that to the next meeting. Do I need a vote on that to defer it?
No, so you can just define.
Okay, all right. Next item is the IDB board. That's the Industrial Development Board, very important. Council appoints one person to the IDB board for a 5-year term. Darrell O'Neill has been on that board, and he has agreed to be reappointed. And I think we may have to have members of certain organizations on that board. Do we, Lisa? That we don't know for sure?
I'm not sure about that. I have to get a copy of the bylaws for that.
Okay.
Into it.
And Mr. O'Neill has agreed to serve on that board again. Do I have a motion to accept that appointment?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Okay, any opposed? Announcements? We don't have any. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
All right, I have a second.
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 Let's adjourn.
Second.